What?
J.
Where? Which one?
J.
Which one? Number 10. That's a Q. So it goes. What does a duck say?
What?
What does a duck say? I gotta hear the word. What does it say?
What?
Q and U goes. Right. Right.
What?
Now that's a tricky one. W is a.
What?
And what's the R? R. So put them together. R. R. Like wrap. Like a wrap my hair. R. Okay? Hello, hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. I am working with TJ on some phonics skills, guys. I'm trying to get him to pronounce double consonants together. Um, Teaching him how to pronunciate like the one letter and then add the second letter and asking him when you run them together, what does it sound like? This is an area of concern that they had for him at the end of the school year. So this is what I am now working on with him um, for the upcoming school year, hopefully, because we don't start until September the 8th. Hopefully he'll have this mastered so that he can wow his teachers and counselors when he go back to school. I was able to reach out to the school and talk to all of their counselors yesterday just to find out what areas they found that they were struggling with the most at the end of the school year. I like to do this right before school starts again so that they can master the skills that they were struggling with at the end. And then she said, oh, we matching, right? You got on red. I didn't even realize. So that when they come back, they can test out of that area. They can master it. Come on, Tyjon, out of there now. And then put it down. Put it down. I listen, I'm paying attention. Put it down and let's go. Let's go. And they're stealing coffee so he could be bouncing off the walls the rest of the day. I don't think so. Haven't they heard coffee is an adult beverage? So here, let's start with number 1.
J.
The first letter is
G.
G, right? And the second one is So if you put G and R together, you get gr. Right. So that word is group. Okay? Pronounce it. Group, correct. So the next one is, what letter is that?
TR.
Right. So what sound does the T make? And the R? So when you put it together? Right. So the word is train. Correct. Number 3.
B.
Welcome to Mika Davis. B is for the B and the R says? What's the R by itself?
R.
What sound does it make? Right. So when you put B and together, you get? Right. And this word is bread. Bread. Very good. Trying to get him to slowly stop rushing through it and take the letters independently and then group them together and see what he can come up with. Yes, diagrams, absolutely. I'd be trying not to get too technical in these chats because sometimes I'm like, for anybody who may not know what that is, and then you don't want to seem like, I don't know, some people take it offensively, like you're calling them less educated than you are, because I don't want to say that word, but realistically, you're not. Some people is way out of school, like myself. And so sometimes you have to give a little soft, gentle reminder, but not to be offended. Yeah, that's the area that he was struggling with at the end of the school year. Whenever he did it with me, he's fine. But when he do it in a testing setting, he tends to stumble, and then they don't give him as high of a percentage as he should have. But I'm like, clearly he really knows this. I'm thinking he has what a lot of people have is anxiety for testing. And I think that's exactly what's going on here, because he'll do everything with me 100%. And then he'll get to school the next day and he'll kind of clam up. Yeah, you're on that one? Very good. So the word is frown. Mm-hmm. Right. And I did that on purpose. This is a cake that you guys got down in the snack closet that you like. You don't have it now. You had it before. It was a white sponge cake, and it had a cream frosting on top, like a butterscotch
What's
flavor.
that?
Cr- What is this? We'll figure it out. In
Er, crib,
creme
friend,
pet crimpet. Remember those cakes?
again.
Yeah, I knew you would. I sluck that in on you. I do because my son gets help for it all. Okay. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with it. Um, I noticed that school tried to always um, say that these children are struggling in some areas. And again, most times it's not an area that you, mom, who works with them outside of the teachers, feel that they're struggling with. However, you know what? I don't even get frustrated like most parents when they say, oh, we noticed that your child was scoring a little lower in this area. I just take it and use it as positive reinforcement and work with the kids a little harder at home. Nothing wrong with some extra help sometimes. I know a lot of people tend to get offended and think that they're trying to classify their kids, but I had a cousin like that. And she was always frustrated whenever the teacher reached out and told her there was an area of concern. And I'm like, no, you just work with her on that area. So she's getting double the skills. She's working at school with it and she's working with you, and then eventually she's going to master it. So don't take it offensively. It's okay to need extra help and extra support. We as adult needs that. I keep telling you guys I work with developmental delayed individuals with developmental delay, and also drug and alcohol clients, as well as individuals with depression. So this kind of stuff shows up all the time. It's
Per.
okay to wrap the kids with services because again, adults need the
Yeah.
services. You're on this one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did that one. We did that one, and we did that one. So, what I need you to do, yeah, let me give you another paper, and I want you to practice writing those words because we need to work on your penmanship as well. Um, See how nice and neat and clean my letters look? I
Yeah.
need you to try to get as close to that as possible, okay? Use your lines. Don't know if you guys can see this on this white paper because I wrote with pencil. Probably not. I'm trying to show him. See, I went to school for mechanical engineering. I've shared with you guys. So I have an engineering degree, and they taught me how to write like this, like block letters, so to speak. It's a nice, clean look, and I'm trying to train my babies here to get their penmanship as close to mine. I know it's probably going to be impossible with the age that they're at, and they're not exactly studying engineering. But the fact that I did, and I was trained to write like that, I'm trying to get them to do the same. Um, Everybody tell me that everywhere I go, like, oh my God, your handwriting is amazing. You write like a machine. I'm like, mechanical engineering. That's, we have to write in title blocks and stuff like that. My cursive to me is way better than my print, but of course they're not there yet. So I have to keep it consistent. That's better. It's looking better. Keep on going. Nice and neat like mine, okay? Because what I do, and I'm a little tough on the kids when it comes to penmanship because of the fact that I went for engineering and my handwriting and penmanship is so clean. I'll make them erase it and do it over and over again because I just want them to do their best all the time. Um, Thank you. I see that, Sierra. You do have neat handwriting. Yeah. Um, you have to. You're trained to write like that. Like you're trained to draw. Like I said, it's blueprints, drawing blueprints for homes and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate. I no longer work in the field. Um, a lot of the jobs are down in the South for that. We don't have very many here in New Jersey. It's a lot of commuting to New York, upstate Pennsylvania. I'm not willing to commute that long of a time period, considering I have the young ones, especially now. But even when I was younger and my son was younger, I wasn't willing to do it then. So I felt like I went to school all them years and got that education, and I didn't really put it to good use. Um, when you're in mechanical engineering, you have to be very sharp when it comes to analytical thinking, so science and math and stuff like that. Um, because I was in like Fortran and physics in school. This is hitting. Watch it. You're hitting this. Wait, wait, right there. Yeah, go ahead, right there. You're hitting this into that other area there. And so I think I remember, maybe it wasn't you guys, but I was sharing this recently with someone. Back when I was in school, when I got to the latter years of my education, I was in the Fortran in physics, and I was like the only black person in the class and the only female. Back then, when you're younger, it can be a bit intimidating to not look around and see your own. And I kept wanting to stop and switch my study, and everybody was like, "No, you need to stay exactly where you are. You're a diamond sitting there. Those people are intimidated by you because A, you're the only woman, and B, you're the only black. So stay right where you are." So I had to muster up the courage to stay in that setting because I felt like a misfit. But now looking back in hindsight, I'm so happy that I did. And now I'm willing to accept any challenge that comes my way. Nothing intimidates me anymore because of that situation. Um, it's a very tough field to be in because it's all analytical thinking. You're writing programs and stuff like that. Um, when you get to that side of things, but again, unfortunately, the jobs are not here in the north where we live. I'm still working on hubby, trying to get him um, to let's consider moving down south, especially as the kids are getting older. I don't want them really up here being brought up in the city like my son. It's unfortunate, but my son got caught up in the streets and landed himself in jail, and I'm trying to prevent that for the little ones. What's funny about that, and I shared with you guys that I grew up in Camden, which is the most dangerous city in the US. Um, I moved out of Camden one day before my son turned 1 years old because I just was adamant about having my son being raised in that environment because I know what I was exposed to. Being a female is easier, but for males, it's too easy to get caught up in the system. Have a seat. That little one try it every time. Um, and so I moved, and he was fine living like in the suburbs. However, once he reached like his teenage years, he was the only child, of course. So my oldest sister had four boys. So he took them on as his brothers, and their lifestyle was a little different. I had my son more sheltered, um, and unfortunately, they were still in the city of Camden. So her kids were exposed to way more than my son. So he started taking an interest, of course, in his first cousins, who he looked at as his brothers, and he started spending more time up in the city and around them, and got caught up. That's basically what happened. So um, started making poor decisions when he was a teenager. I tried to again take him from that type of environment, and I placed him in a boot camp, and he was there. And I know I shared this with you guys. He was there all of not even a full week, not even 7 days. And those people called me and told me I had to come and pick him up. I begged my nieces and nephews and everybody not to share with my son that it was a voluntary program because the moment he found that out, he was going to opt out. The moment my back was turned and he called home and my nephew answered the phone, who was his buddy and didn't want him, there, he shared that with him. And so my son did just what I thought. He told those people he didn't want to be there. So they called me early about 4:30 in the morning and told me I needed to come and pick him up. They say he's not a bad kid, but he made it very clear that he's no longer interested in being here because he knows it's a voluntary program. And so I don't want him to prevent anybody else from getting whatever they can from the program. So he had to get picked up. It's unfortunate it happens. Anybody in the chat that may be raising a young boy or a young man, you know that this is a dog eat dog world, and that um, it is designed to keep our African American men down. Um, I remember when he first went to jail. He was let out on what they call the ISP program. I didn't see any benefits to this program at all. Yes, they would have people that came back that got through the program successfully to come on the day that new when the new guys were being released from jail and it was brought to courts. They always had the ones that either just graduated or was near graduation to come and speak in the courts directly to the people in the court to let them know the program is doable. You have to stick with it. You have to follow the rules. Don't be slick. Don't do this. Don't do that. But it is very tough to pass that program. I commend anybody that get through it because me sitting in the courtroom, supporting my son and listening to the dynamics of this program, I knew it was going to be an epic fail because you know your child. I know he's warm in the head. I know he's going to test the waters, and that's exactly what he did. I remember back then when he was on that particular program. For anyone that don't know, see, I hate doing that because that's when people get offended. But everybody don't know everything, so let me just share. It is a program that you are between being locked up and being free. They give you a probation officer, or it's an ISP worker. Um, this individual basically controls your day to day, and they are the liaison for the courts. And so they have to check in with you. They give you a curfew. So when he came home, his curfew was 6 p.m. Every time he get through a couple months and he's doing good, his ISP worker can extend his curfew. So he went from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. because he was doing well. They give you a certain time frame where you must find some type of employment. He was younger then, so he found employment through Burger King. He was working there. He was very efficient, doing everything he wanted to do. But this individual, your worker, can show up at your job. If you're in school, they can show up at your school. I don't really like that type of exposure um, when they show up on people's job because it can give the morale of the individual will, you know, come down drastically. And it's a reason for people to decomp. No one who is street savvy wants anybody looking over their shoulder all the time and stuff like that. No one, period. But imagine someone who is street savvy who gotten themselves in some trouble and they're trying to get completely out of uh, the system and get their freedom back. And then you have somebody breathing over your shoulder all day, every day. You go to work, they show up there. You come home, they pop up. They don't have to do announced visits. And so this man would deliberately, knowing that I worked two full-time jobs at the time, they don't really care about your personal life or what you got going on or your family dynamics. He would call my phone in the middle of the night and be like, I need to hear his voice. Because they can do that. They can come ring your bell or knock on your door in the middle of the night. And it's very, very frustrating. Um, I felt like I too was caught up in the system because there were rules on me. Anything that he did wrong, it will fall back on me. Because I had to sign a lot of documents stating that I'm willing to take my son back into my home, even though he's under this government program. So you, as the parent, is hold accountable for a lot of things as well. Um, I remember the guy I was dating at the time, the Ghanaian guy. He was playing lottery and he had a lottery ticket on my dining room table one day when the guy came to visit. My son had to take a hit for that because they can't be exposed to anybody gambling or anything. Even though the ticket clearly was not his, it was a picket ticket of a gentleman that I was dating. My son had to get a strike for that. And so his curfew was put back down to 6 p.m. and he was subpoenaed back in court. They had to then, while speaking to him, go over, address me in the courts as well, that I'm equally as wrong for having the picket ticket around him because um, it's inviting him to do the wrong thing. So you have to be very clear when you accept your child, your own child, back into your home under any of these government programs because they're very rough on them and extra and equally tough on you. It's crazy. It's very similar to what I'll be explaining about the whole immigration system. Like with me following my husband into the country and being his petitioner, I am completely 100% accountable for anything that he did up until he gained his citizenship. Even We touched on it a little on our panel when we were talking about international love on on the immigration section. Um, Once you are the petitioner, anything that the individual do, you are held accountable for. They get their working authorization, um, anything that they do within the U.S. because you are documented as their petitioner and filing them in. You are held accountable. And I see where Latanya is saying, yes, you do, just like probation. Absolutely. I feel like the same thing with immigration. When my husband was finally granted his work authorization, sure, he was able to work and stuff like that. But I'm like the mother over that situation, and I'm held accountable for making sure that he get to and fro. He could not, when he received his travel documentation, he's not able to travel at all without me. It's almost like I have this man on a leash. Like he has to do any and everything I say. And I notice that's where a lot of those relationships turn sour because the women, when they read these documents and see how much power they have over this individual, or the male and vice versa, read these documents and see how much power you really have over the individual. It seems like the relationship goes downhill because someone takes on, like, you can't do this without me, or you need my authorization, or I'll call immigration to report you. It turns into that type of situation, which is not good for anybody. The relationships, like I said, normally go downhill because there's a lack of respect on somebody's part. With my husband, I don't care what that paperwork said. I always treated him like a awesome individual that he is. We never had those problems. Where a lot of our friends, I share with you guys that I met a lot of the American wives of some of his Nigerian friends because we're all in the same circle. So I talk to these women, some of them older than me, some of them younger, and I always be like, don't do that man like that. You got to put yourself, like, if you went to his country and you had to go through all this, would you appreciate him changing on you? Don't forget the dynamics of your relationship. Whenever we go to immigrations, I hear the craziest stories. Like, we go through our interview process, and I told you it's not easy at all. It's not easy. That is the toughest day. I mean, I've gone to court with my son on a number of occasions. None of that can touch the way they treat human beings from other countries, in other cultures. It is mind-boggling how disrespectful they are. It is. Tajan, you will never leave that facility in a good headspace. Speak to everybody. You finished writing all your words? Yes, you did. Write them again. Second time, nice and neat, okay? When you finish, you'll be done for the day. Okay. I love you too, baby. Mm. He is a slick one, y'all. He is over here trying to no, you're not going downstairs. I need you to stay up here with everybody else, okay? He tried to take my attention somewhere else. But anyway, when you go to those immigrations, um, interviews, it is so degrading that the last time I had to ask the woman, like, how do you sleep at night? It was an African American woman, and I think one of her parents was African American and the other was Ghanaian. Clearly, I can hear the accent. She was asking the most invasive questions. And you go in there, don't start, TJ. You go in there from the beginning, erase it and do it over if you don't like it. And you got to go in there with your guns cocked. For anybody who may be doing Warner, check in with me because I can warn you ahead of time because that's what I do with the other women who are married to um, Nigerian men as well. I prepare them and arm them for what they can expect. You walk in there and you be in a great headspace, and those people will just take you there like they talk to you like you ain't shit, and I have to remind them like, who you think you're talking to? You can't deport me. I'll let them know, and I'm not gonna allow nobody to disrespect my husband. So I'll be on their heels. Like, what did you just ask him? Oh no, we gonna do that. You're gonna reword that, and you're gonna ask him like he's an American citizen. I don't care who you are, and I don't care where I'm located. And yes, I know you got those guards and security out there, but what you will not do is talk down to him in a demeaning and degrading fashion. It's not going to fly over well with me. At the end of the day, I always tell these women, remember, you are an American citizen. They can't deport you. Stand up for him. There's going to be some questions that they're going to ask this man that he can't. And they're going to try to tangle him up in his words like, oh, no, you said this, you said that. Check them, bees. Check, man, woman, whoever it is, check them. Don't let them disrespect them. Um, it's very, very degrading. Um, the last time we went there, this is how our interview went. And I don't really talk too much about our interview. And I do have it recorded from when we were in the car preparing to go in, because I was sharing with you guys that when you arrive at that building, you can't even go in 5 minutes before your interview time. It is so strict over there. But we got there, and the first thing I want to do is make sure he okay. And I'm like, you okay? You calm? You good? And he like, yeah, because I know it's very, very stressful for them. They try to attack them. They try to bring up stuff from years ago. Like they were asking my husband. Well, they'll call the wife in first because they think they got some stuff for you that you probably wasn't privy to from your partner. So the very first time we went in there, she was like, as soon as she got in, she swore me in. The camera's facing you. Everything is recorded. She was like, who is this? It was a picture. Who is this? Nasty. And I was like, that don't have nothing to do with me. Well, do you know who it is? I say, yes, I do. That's his ex-wife. Are you friends with her? I said, why the fuck would I be friends with her? Excuse me, y'all. Why would I be friends with her? What do I have in common with this woman? She was like, well, isn't that the mother of his children? Absolutely. Well, why aren't you friends with her? I said, well, I want to know, are you friends with any of your husband's ex? Because I see you with a rock on your finger. Are you friends with your husband's ex? And if so, please tell me why. I know there's people that do that crazy stuff, but please tell me why. What you're not going to do is tell me how I should do my stuff. And she's like, well, every household is different. Yes, I am friends. I said, well, that's your problem. Tomato, tomatoes, potatoes, potatoes. I'm not friends with her and never will I be. I don't have anything to do with her. That's Tony's ex. That's not mine. Just like my exes are mine and not his. So she was like, well, if he got kids and that's their mom, then I feel as though you should have some. I said, you feel as though, like I said, and let's revisit what you just said. Every family dynamic is different. So that's where you and I differ. So she was like, well, I'm not understanding why you would be with a man that clearly has kids with another woman and have no communication with her. I said, let me let you in on something. I ain't lay down with that woman. That woman don't even speak my language. That woman did a lot of things against me in my relationship, and I'm not going to even sit here and divulge that, even to make her look bad. I said I'm not friends with her, and that's where it stopped. Next question. So then she was like, do y'all go and get his kids? Absolutely, when we're scheduled to. Um, weren't you following the children in? Yes, I was. Well, why did you stop? I said, again, you digging into areas that have absolutely nothing to do with you. Next question. Because you have to be like this. You have to know how to whip them into shape. You got to let them know, like, look, I'm not playing with you. I don't know who you just had in here interviewing before I showed up, but I'm not them. You need to get on track here. You see the type of energy? I'm gonna match you. I'm not afraid of you. So then she was asking things like, girl, they get so invasive. They be asking. So she called him in. So he comes in. And I want you to know, this ain't no play marriage, because they always look at every marriage with an American citizen and a foreigner as if it's arranged. Baby, this is real. When he came in, the first thing I did was gave him contact. You good? You all right? Okay. And whenever he's talking and she asking him questions, I'm sitting there rubbing his back, his leg, whatever, because you can get to a boiling point. I'm bringing him back down. That's my role as the wife, to keep him balanced. And again, whenever I feel like she's doing too much, I'm going to step in and she'll be like, I'm talking to him. Yeah, well, when you're talking to him, you're talking to me, because we're a whole MF and team. Again, let me remind you about the beginning. Don't disrespect my husband. Don't do that. So, he really appreciates the facts that I can read my husband. I can read him. Like I tell y'all all the time, those women be saying, oh, your husband, he's always the same when you're not around. I don't need you to tell me that. Listen, I studied that man. I know things about him that he probably don't realize I know. Just like he may know some things about me that I don't realize that he know. What do? You know your partner like the back of your hand. So I can tell you where every mark, every tribal mark, everything is on Tony's body. He probably don't even know I know it all, but I do. I pay attention to everything. But they will take you there We actually got married in 2017, so 5 years. We did a small ceremony and a dinner. It was a 24-hour, believe me, y'all, 24-hour nonstop celebration. But my youngest grandbaby, Tyjan, was born like 2.5 weeks before we got married. And I wanted all my babies to be a part of my ceremony. So we just did like the small ceremony. And Tyjan stayed in the hospital. I shared 7 weeks and 6 days, almost 8 weeks. I had to nurse this baby and get him nice and healthy. So we set our large ceremony up for the 1 year mark. I shared that back on our anniversary back in April, our anniversary video for our 1 year anniversary, which was actually our reception. So that's when you saw us all in the African natives in the large ceremony. But it's 5 years now, and this is the problem that I have with the whole immigrations. Why do you wait until people are married and then you want to come and split up a marriage? Wouldn't you think that they would do this whole immigration interview and all this trying to separate people before a marriage? Once you file for a certificate to get married, you think they would step in and try to bust it up then? No, they wait for you to be married and to be married all these years, and then they want to interview you and stop it. Think that they're sharing some things with you that he didn't share with you, because you know why? And it's sad to say, I've seen a lot of people getting deported while we've been at the immigration's office. The couple that was before us, the very first year that we ever had to go to immigrations to get his 2 year green card, they did that woman the same way they did me. Do you know who this is? And it was a picture. The woman clearly didn't know who it was. So either this is an arranged marriage or this man has secrets. So they kept going on and on because the thing is they want to do trickery in these interviews. And thank you so much, Latanya. Appreciate that. They want to do the whole trickery thing. So they asked him, "Do you still communicate with your ex?" And he said, "No." Baby, they was able to pull out his cell phone records and show that he was talking to this woman every chance he got. The woman, the wife, flipped right in front of them people. And I tell my people, I don't care what them people bring out and say to you in that interview, play along with it like you knew, even if you didn't. Cuss his ass out and do whatever you got to do after the fact. But don't you turn on that man in front of those people, because that's their job to get you to turn on them, and then there's an easy deport. And that's what happened. The woman was like, "Oh, you was talking to her and this and that," and then they kept giving her more and more information, more and more. Yeah, she told them go ahead and deport him. Told them to deport him. They deported that man. He left out of that building in shackles because he wasn't being forthright with his wife, and so they led her to believe that he had a lot of secrets back in his country, and she let that man to get deported. And it's so crazy because they sit there like, you could be my, when they have you, the wife, by yourself, you could be my best friend. I'm looking out for your best interest. I know these foreign men, they do these things. They bring these women in. I said, I know what they do. I tell my people what they do. I'm very familiar with what happens. But this is a real marriage, so I don't have any of those concerns. I said, she was like, "Do you know the family?" I know all the family, because you have to bring everything you got. So I took our wedding album. I took the video of our wedding. Of course, I have my whole YouTube channel. So you go on YouTube and see the dynamics of my family at any given time. Because trust me, they already start looking at my YouTube channel. They know everything about you. Um, we have to take pictures. Whenever we had social gatherings and stuff, my husband is flicking it up. He flicked more than me. But I don't know to the extent that he do that is that deep that they want to see you in every social setting together. Pick it up and take that book, put it back where it belongs, because you almost bust my face. Take that book and put it away and go have a seat and watch TV. You don't have to look around at your brothers. I'm talking to you and telling you what to do. Don't be embarrassed now because you should have stopped earlier. Go have a seat over there. Thank you, sir. Oh my God, they try it, y'all. But yeah, they go there. My husband friend was deported because his wife got there and did the wrong thing too. Allowed them to deport this man over some foolishness they presented, and He was carried away and deported, and they can go through anything. I see your question. So they can legally go through cell phone records without a warrant or any. They're immigrations, honey. They can do anything. They can go through anything. So you need to be forthright with these people because the questions they're asking you, they already have the answers to. They want to see if you're going to be honest. They have the power to do that. Yes. But this woman, have a seat. This woman had him deported. And then she want to come around the circle whining and crying after the fact. Like, I guess like 2 months after it started hitting her, like, oh my God, I don't have my financial support. I sent this man back to Nigeria. Um, he kept the kids for me whenever I worked. He did this. He paid X amount of the bills every month. Like, she just couldn't um believe that she went along with that. And then she started coming back to like Tony's friends where they hang at the gatherings all the time, like, oh my God, I want him back. What do I do? And they like, want him back. You sent that man away, right? You became friends with the immigration people and teamed up against him. There's no coming back. You deported him. So you might as well go find you another man. And I don't blame them. And I was there. I was looking at her like, you must have lost your effing mind. She tried to come over to me like, sister, mom, you sent that man back. I'm disgusted in you too. Don't come ask me anything. Um, yeah, it's crazy. I don't want to hear it typed out. Whatever y'all going through over there, y'all hash it out. I said I don't want to hear it. TJ, give him his ball. Thank you. I'm gonna make you come do some more penmanship. Okay, get it together. Um, anybody. That's why I thought it was very important to bring that panel to my community because I know quite a few of us are in relationships, like either married, engaged, or dating Nigerian men. And it's very important for me to share with these sisters what they can expect. Because if you remember on my panel last week, I told Judith and Lacey, like, I know you guys have not gotten to that point yet, but just understand that when this man comes into the country, he cannot work legally until he obtains his work authorization. So realistically, the way you're doing things now is still how you're going to do it for 1 year into your relationship. It can be very frustrating because I see women they love these men, they follow them in, they marry them, but then when shit get real, when you're in that 1 year and he can't work legally, and he's looking over his shoulders for the cops everywhere you go, because they don't have any type of documents yet, you get mad. Like, every time I come from work, you laying your ass around, you ain't doing nothing. Like, this is what one of my girlfriends was going through. And I kept having to remind her, like, you handpicked that man. You met that man online, and whatever he said, he wowed you. And you, 6 months later, went over to his country and married him. And then you came back with the paperwork in hand to file him into the country, TJ. And you put that in the sink. You filed him in. You got him here. You married him again. An American ceremony. And now, just not even 12 months into this thing, you're frustrated with him. You knew what you took on. You went to his country, married him, brought him here and married him, and now you sick of him. And guess what, y'all? She pulled the plug on that relationship. She put him out of the house. He had to become friends with a local pastor, where they were allowing him to sleep in the church. It was so crazy. They allowed him to sleep in the church and stuff until he got a job and got himself on his feet. And he had to make friends with other people that he met in the U.S. And that's where he went and stayed and stuff, rented rooms and put himself through school and got himself on his feet. But it's a large bite that you take when you start dealing with men from other countries or women from other country and you bring them into the country. You have to be mentally prepared and you have to be mature enough to handle it and see it all the way through. Um, that's playing with somebody's livelihood. You bring somebody out of their whole habitat, their element, and bring them into this new country where everything is completely new to them and foreign, and you mistreat them. Not cool. Not cool. But I see it happen a lot, and I see these fools go, and and I'm talking about our own citizen, and mistreat these people and have them deported, and it's so not cool. Um, if there's anything y'all want to know more about, like immigrations or dating a foreign individual or anything, you can always DM me on Instagram. I can always turn that into a live stream. I have a funny feeling that my panel of guests for International Love will not be let loose anytime soon. We have a lot of questions that came in since part one. Part two, I have scheduled is going to be the last Thursday. I'm sorry, the last Tuesday of this month. Let me get the date real quick. 9 p.m. Again, I want the kids to be down. I don't want this disruption I got going on now. Um, Last Tuesday at 9 p.m. on this. So it's the 30th. It'll be all four of us women back on. I did offer Sensational Gent to extend the invite for him and the gents to come over and be a part of the chat and view as well, since they have complete and opposite views. Hopefully they still will show. If not, show's still going to go on. Because with or without, we're going to answer these questions. We're going to bring the answers that you guys asked for. So I do have quite a few questions for the ladies and myself again. And we will be doing that on the 30th. Again, if anybody want to come up on my panel and discuss anything, you're more than welcome. I do have a topic coming up for living with and maintaining and working through depression. So anyone that may suffer from depression or know someone closely or work with people that suffer from depression, you are more than welcome to come up on the panel. Um, believe that one is scheduled for the first week in September, the first Tuesday. I don't have my book here now, and I know I tell y'all I have it with me all the time. It's out in my van because I took my mom for dental surgery yesterday, so I took those books to work on some things. And when I got back after carrying her and everything in, I never went back out there and got my book. So after this live, I need to go get it because I need to work on some things. TJ. So that one looked like it is scheduled for the 5th of September for depression. Um, Again, Tuesday coming, I have a friend of mine, Neil. I have a story to tell is the name of his channel. Um, he's going to come on and talk about the gig economy. Tuesday just passed, we had Kha'yair on, Life with Kiki, where she went over the self-defense products. If you haven't seen that, ladies, I encourage every woman to go and check that out. Men too, whoever's watching this, check that out. She has some awesome products available that can ensure safety. Um, yeah, I was just checking in actually, guys, to sign me up when you get that book for karaoke night. This girl is funny. This is like her third time calling me out. Listen, you already are scheduled for karaoke night. I need you to bring me some songs that you want to sing for my audience. Anybody else want to come up and do karaoke? I'm gonna let you come on. I don't know. You ain't never tell me you could sing. I found that out through my chat. So what I plan to do is this month when I do the whole trivia for music, I'm inviting you up to sing some tracks. We got to get a feel before I turn you on to a karaoke night. But ladies, listen. Saturday, I'm gonna try something new, and I'm shooting for 1 p.m. I want to do what I call a virtual chat and chew. So anyone that want to come in, bring you a dish, bring you something to eat. We're going to chat and we're going to chill. Okay, we're gonna get down and talk about female stuff, just like we did last Saturday. I just came on and I titled it "Hanging Out with My Girls," and before I know it, oh baby, we got into some good talk. So yeah, bring something to eat. Join me on my panel. It could be a number of 6 of us up here, so I can have myself and 5 guests. We can swap out people. So if someone wants to go down back in the chat so someone else can come up, it's just going to be 6 at a time. What we sing it, whatever you want. You in Chastity? Because I don't forget nothing now. Don't think because that book outside I ain't going to remember to put you in on karaoke. Anybody who's never going live, if you want to come up on a panel and join me, you're more than welcome. Especially on the Saturdays, because I'll be going through StreamYard where I can invite you up. Today I'm just through YouTube Studios, so I can't invite you up. They don't have that feature yet. I'm hoping in the near future they will catch up and do that too. because I have to be mindful of when I'm sending my live streams feed out. He coming up too. That's not a problem. And I know he'll do it. As y'all talk about y'all was shy the other day in y'all first live, I didn't see shy. Y'all said y'all were shy, and I seen you fidgeting a little bit before I knew it. You got your security blanket, Chastity. You grabbed on his arm. You never let go, and then you went. You didn't even realize that y'all moved from topic to topic. Y'all went in there to announce something, but y'all was all over the place telling us about expanding your family, all kind of stuff. How y'all met, how some girl was in your face and he saw that, but you didn't even acknowledge that man until about 3 years later. Listen, I was listening. I really, really, and I'm glad you're in here today, because I told your mother-in-law, Missy, the other day that I really felt like I got to know you and him.
Hi.
Through. Go ahead, you can say hi.
Hi.
Through that live stream. Get out of here, big head. Now you can go. He'll hang around, y'all. I felt like I got to know y'all even more. I always knew that y'all had the fun, bubbly personalities, but to see y'all live in the flesh and just answering questions spontaneous like that, we, the audience, really get a feel for. No, we're gonna leave that alone. No, we're gonna leave those alone. Thank you. Go back over there. I knew you was easy.
Tomorrow we're going to get the charger tomorrow, okay?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to go right to the charger.
No, I don't need you to do anything. I mean, I got this under control, okay?
It's just, I'm just a big boy.
That is okay. I know you're a big boy and I know you can do it, but I got it under control right now, okay?
Okay.
Trust me, this conversation ain't gonna end right here because this boy have to get the last word in on everything. You have to be. You even when I'm yelling at him, like, put that down, get that back over there. I don't do all that extra explosive stuff because it's not necessary. I want to talk to them the way I always wanted to be talked to. Thank you so much for that. You said you need some tips. Listen, just stop what you're doing, get them that little attention. It might take 2 or 3 minutes, but just give them that little attention and let them know, even though I'm busy, if you need me, I'm here. And it's easier for them to work with you like that. I make a lot of promises. I hold through though. I follow through, but I make promises in the beginning of the day. And that's what I have to hold and dangle like a carrot over their head all day till we get to that point. And it works. It works. It's just like I always tell people, do you know it takes way more muscles to make a frown than a smile? So just as easy as we can be, let's just do that. I think I was more frustrated and argued more in my younger years, and I didn't even hit the point that I was going through the change yet. Now I got such a grasp on things that I know how to close myself off and shut myself off in the room and call my husband like, listen, today is one of them days. I'm gonna need you now. Please come get the boys so I can go out for a ride, so I can go do some retail therapy, so I can just go in my room and cuddle up in the bed and watch my favorite shows and just have to find a way to mentally escape it all. I deal with those patients at work every night, and then I leave there and come home and deal with kids that nag me all day, every day. And I have to find a way to mentally escape. Sometimes as simple as a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, but it works. It works. So yeah, anybody that wants to come up on a panel, please do so. Listen, my door is open. I'm trying to get anyone who's never gone live, who's still a little nervous, so that they can come up here and see that you got the support of your sisters. Even if you're not a part of my WOW group and you come to my channel religiously and watch my content and I'm supporting yours, you're my sister. Let me help you. I keep telling you, each one teach one. A lot of people are afraid to do live streams, but it's really nothing to it. Sierra just did her first live stream maybe a little over a month ago. I have my ladies in my group setting dates. When you think you're going to conquer this fear and do your first live stream. And the moment they tell me, I'm writing it down. And every now and then I send a little reminder like, oh, time is winding down. This one, you said you're going to go live by your birthday in October. This one said you're going to do it by the end of the year. And that's what y'all doing it independently. If you want to join in with me and get in on one of mine, it'll be a little easier. You can do it because you'll have support up there with you. It's like 2 or 3 of us. Let's go. Sharice is Yeah, she never gave a date. It was Allison by her birthday. Um, it could be stressful at times, but it's a rewarding. Love my patients. Okay, so where do you work? Let me see. Cuddling in bed in my escape. I have to deal with cancer patients. Oh my God. They are rough to deal with. Anyone that has long term illness are the roughest population, as well as like the elderly. Because I shared with you guys, I do go in people home and work with them too, where I do like caregiver services, not a CNA or anything like that. Um, it's like companionship. Blue Ridge Cancer Care. Oh my God. Bless your heart. You see a lot. You see a lot. Um, of course, I've had patients with cancer, but I don't go into facilities and work directly with them. I work with mentally ill individuals. That's where you see a lot too. It's very interesting when we have to call codes. And if, oh my God, my favorite expression for anyone who don't know what that is where you have to call for assistance from other staff so that you can obviously take a client that's having like a behavioral outburst, take them down. Different facilities practice different things. So some of them they teach us techniques of like 2 to 3 staff taking an individual down. If you need more, then they'll slide in. They teach you the techniques. So y'all, grandma be down on the floor holding clients down that's irate, that's kicking, trying to bite, but they teach you the techniques of how to avoid getting bitten, kicked, or just hurt. Before you even get to the point of taking an individual down, they'll tell you how to maneuver and use furniture to block you, um, so that you can get towards an egress or you can get the attention of another staff who may not even know that you're in a volatile situation. Um, they teach you one person, like single individual restraints, 2 person restraints, or like I said, multiples. Um, Unfortunately, when you get in a hospital setting, like the psych hospital, you have to rely on like the stray jackets or injections is what they use. My first knowledge of that was when I was watching Lady Sings the Blues. Diana Ross was in a psych facility when I was a kid, and I was like, "What the heck?" That was my first actual time being exposed to something like that. And then I kept on watching different movies pertaining to special needs or developmental delay, like Forrest Gump and stuff like that. And although I was interested in seeing it because the dynamics of the individual and how their brain was functioning was totally different from what I've ever been exposed to, I was never interested in working in that field. I just stumbled on the field. I was applying for jobs because I was sick of working in the banking industry at the time. Um, and I just started applying for jobs, and these people were calling me back, and it was to the point I was like, "Excuse me, I'm not being rude, but what job is this?" Because I don't even remember applying. So I landed that job and just showed up and told y'all recently in the upload how I was set up because they had me working with an individual, um, a hermaphrodite who was born with both sex parts, and no one told me. And I discovered that when I was bathing her that night. So yeah, that was crazy. But and I thought I would never go back to work after that. But once I conquered that fear and went back the next day, here we are, 20 something years later. I'm still doing it. I worked in a lot of different capacities. See the biting no man. Yeah, but they teach you how to avoid getting bitten. And oh, it's a lot that can happen, honey. Spitting on you. Oh God, that is the worst. I like. Oh God, smearing feces. All kind. You come across all kind of foolishness, but you have to trust me. If you did it for 20 plus years, you've seen some things. And I've gone in different facilities and different capacities, like from counselor to from substitute to a counselor to a assistant manager to group home manager to case manager, um, supportive housing staff. I worked in homeless shelters. I've seen a lot. I've seen so much. I'm normally very helpful when I see other people even uploading here on YouTube and talking about they have something going on in their family. I normally get in their comment section and try to invite them over to Instagram so I can speak with them privately. But if there's someone speaking openly, then I'll just give them some suggestions. I've seen quite a few of my followers upload that they are experiencing depression, and sometimes they'll shock you. It's the people that you think is functioning normally from day to day that will tell you that they suffer from depression. And I've seen quite a few do that, living their best life, uploading and doing everything normally, but then obviously something happens where they'll go through a phase of depression and then they'll divulge that on their community, and it's normally a shocker. But I am going to go because I finished working with TJ. So now I'm going to pull Kha'yair over to the table because we are going to work on some more cards. With TJ, I was working on um, phonics, but with Kha'yair, I'm going to start working on math cards. There is some phonics on one side and math on the other. We're going to work on some of that. Again, I'm getting all my books prepared for the upcoming school year. I have a few things that I want to work on with Taijin, but that requires this little robot. So the robot really, he can just sit there with the robot because the robot is like the instructor on that. But I like to sit in on it, so that if he needs a little guidance, I can be like, no, what he's asking you to do is do this. He really have to follow the direction of the robot. But I buy all of these like learning games, and I turn everything into a teachable moment over here. Even when we're riding in the car with the kids, I'm constantly quizzing them like, name me 5 vegetables. You'll be amazed that your kids will get fruits confused with vegetables. Or I'll just say, name me three green vegetables, or name me 3 green fruits, or something like that. Or where does this grow? Just I look at things going on around us, and I'll pronounce things, and I'll be like, what building has the word? And I'll slowly pronounce the word, and they'll look around and be like, oh, it's that supermarket over there. Like, so I just do all kind of stuff with the kids. Um, when I'm coming up to lights, I'll say to Tyon, like, oh my God, that light is red. What am I supposed to do? It's red. Tell me. And he'd be like, stop. You got to stop. You got to stop. Red means stop and green means go. And I say, well, what do yellow mean? Oh, it means slow down. So when we come in, I'll have him draw me like a traffic sign. I had that in the older video where we were out there riding around in the community, and I was making sure that they were aware of things going on. And then when we come back, I'll give them some art paper and they can draw me some of the things we did or seen out there. So everything is a teachable moment. You guys should take these tips and just work on that with your kids. Um, I normally go in on maps on Google, and I'll punch in locations like, let's go to grandma's house. Want to go to grandma's house? And he'll be like, yeah. Tell you guys all the time that my mom lives in the front of the development, but I'll put it on through the Google Maps, like the whole GPS, and it's like we're traveling through our development. And I'm like, do I go right or left right here? Even when we're out in the car, I'll be like, I don't know how to get to grandma's house. Can one of y'all tell me? And they'll be like, I know, just go to the stop sign and go that way. I'm like, I don't understand that way. Is that a left or a right? I'm in the front. I can't see your hand. So I make them figure it out. With my development, you can go left or right because it's one big circle. But whatever they tell me, they have to guide me until they get me there. So yes, everything is a teachable moment for my kiddos. Even in the kitchen, you saw I uploaded recently where I had them cooking. Whatever you say you want to eat, gotta get in there and help me make it. I can't make it for you all the time. There's one day a week where they have to apply everything and they have to come in there. So I call them in at one at a time, normally by age, and say, what did you want? They'll say, I say, you gotta help me make it. So you have to do that. Guys, it's been real always you guys, but let me go so I can work with Kha'yair because he needs a little more attention when I'm working with him. Um, I will be on tonight on Grandma Does It All, playing Family Feud at 7 p.m. So join me if you can. Love and respect.